Welcome back in. Chris Meaney and Justin Mason here, the man behind TGFBI. You can also find him over at Fangraphs. Let's talk about the NL West. Of course, the Dodgers are up at the top, over 111 wins last year. Just another year for the Dodgers. The Padres check in at a 93.5 win total. You see LA favored to win this division. I found the best possible odds using Prop Shop over at FTNBets.com. A couple different win totals for some of these teams, but 95.5, the lowest. I see some 96.5s out there. Pretty high number to be taking the over, even as good as the Dodgers are. The Giants check in at 80.5. 12-1 to win the division, 81-81 last season. Some longer shots, the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think they got some nice players. The Rockies are in for a long season for sure. The Rockies organization, I can never figure them out, dude, over the past few years. I just haven't liked a lot of some of the moves that they've made inside the front office. But nonetheless, I want to chat to you about the Giants because it seems like every other year this team is like right there. I don't know how you feel about some of the offseason moves, how you feel about this win total at 80.5. Actually, before we get there, is this the Dodgers division to lose, or you think the Padres, when they get to Tatis back and company, if the rotation can stay healthy, do you think that they could win this division?
Yeah, I think the Padres are going to win this division.
Nice.
And their lineup is just so loaded. And while I know losing Musgrove is definitely going to hurt, he's only supposed to miss like 2 to 3 starts. And that rotation is pretty darn good, especially if Blake Snell stays healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Like they could run away with this division. And the Dodgers took a real step back. Like they are clearly gearing up for 2024 to go get Ohtani. And they were like, we're going to let the Padres spend their money now, and we're going to go get Ohtani next winter. And there's a lot of holes in that Dodgers rotation, in that Dodgers lineup that we're not used to seeing. This is not a 100-win team. Honestly, I'm going to take the under on the Dodgers wins.
Love it.
I'll probably take the under on the Giants. I definitely take the under on the Giants wins. I don't think the Giants will win, but I'm going to massively hit the over on the Diamondbacks wins. I think the Diamondbacks are legitimately good and could actually end up being better than the Dodgers this year.
Nice. I like that call as well. As I mentioned, a couple of like really intriguing pieces on that team. I love Zach Allen, man. Like that guy, you should have drafted him, obviously. But I do like him overall as a player. I mean, he was fantastic. He's been fantastic really since he's came in, into the league. He's been a guy that you can just kind of count on, some innings and some strikeouts. He went through, there was a stretch, I believe, where it was like 17 of 20 starts was like 3 runs or fewer, just like basically automatic from Gallen. I agree on the Dodgers as well. Man, that I don't understand. I hear reports that Padres are going to be in on Ohtani. I just don't know how, if you're paying all those guys and then Juan Soto as well. Like, where are you getting this money from?
I mean, if the Padres have not proven, I think the Rangers are helping the argument, but if the Padres have not proven that there's no such thing as a small market team, right? Like, 5-6 years ago, we were talking, the Padres can't afford to compete with the Dodgers. Yeah, any team can afford to compete with any team, and the Padres have proven that. Like, they just don't care because they know if they're good, like the Dodgers have been, like the Yankees have been in the past, even like the Giants have been recently, like you're going to make that money back from the fans. And so, they should absolutely go for every team should be in on every player. And the fact that there's so many teams in baseball crying poor, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. Let's bring up the Giants roster, Quan, if you don't mind. So, again, from NFBC, for the iTunes listeners, I'll read a couple names off here. But if you're watching on Game Plus Network, so I just have in brackets the ADP over at NFBC leagues, high stakes leagues over the last 6 weeks. And then like Logan Webb, pitcher number 32. And that was the starting pitcher number 32 on average. Mitch Haniger on average, outfielder 39, pick 169. Jock Peterson there. Michael Conforto, Sean Manaea now, who's been in Cali his whole career, right? Oakland, San Diego, and now in San Fran. Ross Stripling, I know 2-catcher format there. Joey Bart, potentially an option for you and for others. Alex Cobb, we've been giving a lot of love to on the show over the past year, so I think he's an underrated arm. Who jumps out off the page? Players you're intrigued about, maybe you want some shares of. Mitch Haniger, now a member of the Giants as well.
I mean, the sad part as a Giants fan myself is there's not many I want. I really like Tyro Estrada because I think there's a chance he's either hitting second or first in this lineup, depending on if they're up against a righty or a lefty. He's got enough pop to play, but he's got some good speed, stole 21 bases last season. And he's dual eligible, right? Second base, shortstop. It's always nice to have those multi-eligibility guys. Outside of that, Manaea is interesting because of the increased velocity in spring training. But the problem with the Giants pitchers, because usually you want to target Giants pitchers, right? It's a great park to pitch in. They've done a really, really great job of these reclamation projects in San Francisco, kind of getting more out of these older vets that either struggle with health or just struggle with performance. The defense is really, really bad. And it was the worst defense in baseball last year, and it somehow got worse, losing, guys like Longoria and Belt and things like that. So, I know the most common article podcast topic last year was Alex Cobb's unlucky, buy low, buy low.
Yeah.
He was unlucky because the defense let him down. They're going to continue to let him down. And so while he may get some kind of regression in terms of, or positive regression in terms of getting a little bit luckier, it's not going to you're not going to see the underlying statistics, those really nice xFIPs and Sierras actually come to play and fruition in his ERA because the Giants are so bad defensively. And so I really want to caution people of hey, don't overspend on, a Giants pitcher just because they're a Giants pitcher, especially because all these guys, for the most part, rely on a lot of ground balls. That infield defense, really, really bad. And the outfield defense is even worse somehow. I'm staying away from pretty much all Giants pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, right? I mean, the ground ball rate, I think it was 62% last year for Cobb, but defensively, maybe not the strongest team. Seeing the ERA 3.73 and the xFIP sub 3 at 2.89. Manaea is a guy that, I feel like there's some upside, right? We'll see if he can put it together. You mentioned maybe the velocity and things like that, if health can be okay. Conforto is interesting, Jock Peterson interesting, but not guys that, you're going to feel too great about in your everyday lineups. I think there's probably a little bit more upside maybe for power when it comes to Jock Peterson. If you could chuck that board up one more time, Quan, I think there was one name. Yeah, Logan Webb. Is he just a better real life pitcher than a fantasy guy? Is that fair to say? I mean, I'm a sucker for this guy. I think he's fantastic, but he's not going to be a strikeout per inning guy. Is it just too steep of a price? Roughly at 116.
I think it is too steep of a price. And I mean, maybe we see him go for the strikeouts more. He hasn't in spring training, but there was always this thought he was going to strike out a guy an inning. And then he kind of went for a little bit more ground ball contact approach, get out of innings quickly. And maybe with the new shift rules and the bad defense behind him, you think, oh, maybe he'll go for the strikeouts. But we haven't seen him in spring training, so I wouldn't project that. He's just a guy that I like. I don't think he's bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he just goes a little bit higher. There's other guys around him that I prefer a lot more.
Yeah, from a 26% strikeout rate in 2021 to 20% just last season.